Hello, Army! Welcome back to Seoul 7 News, your #1 destination for the latest BTS updates, viral moments, and breaking stories coming straight from Seoul. If you enjoy staying ahead of everything related to the boys, then you are exactly where you need to be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and now let's dive right into today's story. From the quiet glances to the way they always seem to find each other even in the middle of a crowded room, there is something about Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung that fans simply cannot overlook. There are no big announcements, no dramatic displays, just something subtle, genuine, and deeply felt. You can see it in the way Jeon Jungkook naturally shifts closer whenever Taehyung is nearby. You can feel it in how Taehyung's energy softens without a single word being spoken. These are moments that last only seconds, yet they stay with you long after. And recently, fans have started to notice something new, something deeper. It feels like their connection has not only remained strong, but has grown into something even more unbreakable. So the question arises, are we finally witnessing the true depth of their unspoken bond? Because once you begin to notice it, it becomes impossible to ignore. There is a certain kind of connection that does not need to be loud in order to be powerful. It exists in silence, in the smallest gestures, in the moments that most people would miss if they were not paying close attention. And when it comes to Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, that connection feels more real now than ever. It shows itself in the way they exist around one another. Nothing feels forced, nothing feels exaggerated, everything simply feels natural. When they share the same space, there is an unspoken awareness between them. Jeon Jungkook does not need to look directly to know where Taehyung is. Taehyung does not need to say anything to be understood. It is as if they have reached a point where words would only complicate what they already feel. Over the years, fans have watched their dynamic evolve, shifting from playful chaos into something quieter, steadier, and more grounded. And that kind of evolution speaks volumes, because relationships that truly last do not always remain loud. They grow deeper, more secure, and more certain over time. There are moments when the cameras are not even focused on them, and yet those moments somehow say the most. A quick glance, a small smile, the way Jeon Jungkook unconsciously mirrors Taehyung's movements without even realizing it. The way Taehyung appears completely at ease just knowing Jeon Jungkook is there. These are not performances, these are natural habits, and habits like these do not form without a reason. What makes it even more powerful is how effortless everything feels. There is no need for them to prove anything. There is no need to draw attention. In fact, the quieter they become, the louder their connection seems to speak. It exists in comfortable silence, in shared understanding, in a closeness that does not fade even when they are not standing side by side. And maybe that is why people are talking about it more now, because there is a clear difference. There is a sense of maturity, a calm strength that was not as visible before. It feels like both of them have grown into who they are meant to be, and somehow that growth has only brought them closer. You begin to realize that what they share is not just about moments captured on camera. It's about consistency. It's about how they continue to show up for each other again and again in ways that do not need explanation. It's the kind of bond that doesn't break under pressure, doesn't fade with time, and does not rely on constant attention to exist. And the more you observe, the clearer it becomes. This is not something temporary. It's something that has been built slowly and quietly over the years, layer by layer, moment by moment. Because in the end, the strongest connections are not the ones that demand to be seen. They are the ones that simply exist, steady, unshaken, and undeniably real. And perhaps what makes it feel even more meaningful is how unintentional it all seems. With Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, nothing about their connection feels like it is being displayed for attention. There is no effort to highlight it, no attempt to turn it into something bigger than it already is. Because the truth is, it already is something significant. It just exists in a quieter, more subtle form. There are moments when everything around them is loud, crowds, cameras, constant movement, and yet somehow they remain grounded. And often that sense of grounding seems to come from each other, not in an obvious way, but in a way that only becomes clear when you slow everything down and truly observe. You can see it in how Jeon Jungkook's energy gently shifts whenever Taehyung is near. There is a calmness that settles in, as if he doesn't have to carry everything on his own in that moment. And for Taehyung, there is a similar sense of ease, a quiet confidence that comes from being understood without needing to explain anything. What stands out the most is not grand gestures, but consistency. Because anyone can create a moment, but not everyone can maintain a connection over time, especially in an environment where everything is constantly changing. Schedules move, pressures increase, paths evolve, and yet, despite all of that, something between them has remained steady. And slowly, you begin to notice how naturally they fall in sync. The way they respond at the same moment, laugh at the same things, or simply exist within the same rhythm without even trying. It is not rehearsed, it is not planned. It is the kind of natural alignment that only happens when you truly know someone, not just on the surface, but at a much deeper level beneath everything else. And maybe that is why their connection feels different now. It is no longer about proving anything or showing anything to the world. It is about simply being present, being familiar, being a constant in each other's lives, even when everything else feels temporary. There is also something meaningful in the way they allow each other space, not distance, but space to grow, to change, to become more of who they are. And instead of that space creating separation, it seems to have done the opposite. It has strengthened their connection, making it more resilient and more genuine. Because when two people can grow individually and still return to each other so naturally, it speaks volumes. And perhaps that is what fans are truly noticing now. Not just isolated moments, but the meaning behind those moments. Not just interactions, but the intention behind the way they remain connected without ever needing to say it out loud. At a certain point, you stop questioning it. You stop trying to define it. You simply accept it for what it is, a bond that does not require constant validation, a connection that is not weakened by time or distance, something that has quietly and steadily become a part of who they are. And as time continues to pass, it becomes even clearer. This is not something that is fading. If anything, it is becoming stronger than ever before. As time keeps moving forward, there is something almost undeniable about the way their connection continues to reveal itself, not all at once, not in obvious ways, but in small fragments that slowly come together over time. With Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, it is never about one defining moment. It is about patterns, the kind you only begin to recognize after watching them repeatedly until it finally becomes clear that what you are seeing is not coincidence. It is familiarity. It is history. There is a quiet history between them that does not need to be retold in order to be felt. Years of shared experiences, growing up in the same environment, facing the same pressures, understanding the same unspoken expectations. That kind of shared journey creates something rare, something that cannot be recreated or replaced. And you can feel it in the way they never rush each other. In a world where everything moves quickly, where reactions are instant and attention shifts within seconds, they seem to exist at a slightly different pace when it comes to one another. There is patience there, a willingness to let moments unfold naturally instead of forcing them into something louder. Sometimes it is as simple as standing next to each other without needing to fill the silence, and somehow that silence communicates more than words ever could. Other times, it appears in the smallest reactions, the way one of them notices something before anyone else does, the way a glance lingers just a little longer, the way there is always an awareness even when they are not directly interacting. It is not about being inseparable, it's about being connected regardless of distance, because even when they are focused on different things, different conversations, different areas of the room, there is still that invisible thread between them, something that keeps them aligned without effort. And maybe that is why their bond feels stronger now, not because it is more visible, but because it is more certain. There is no hesitation in it, no need to question where they stand with each other. That kind of clarity does not come from words. It comes from time, from trust that has been built gradually, tested quietly, and proven without needing to be announced. You begin to notice how comfortable they are within that certainty. There is no urgency to define what they mean to each other, no pressure to explain it to anyone watching, and that alone says everything. Because when something is real, it does not need constant explanation. It simply exists. And at its core, what makes their connection so compelling is that it still feels unfinished in the most beautiful way, not incomplete, but continuously growing. With Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, there is a sense that no matter how much time passes, there will always be another layer waiting to be understood, another quiet moment that adds to everything that came before. It is not something that reached a peak and remained there. It is something that continues to evolve naturally, without force. And that kind of growth does not happen unless there is something real holding it together. Because the truth is, time reveals everything. It tests connections. It exposes what is temporary and what is meant to last. And yet, through all the changes, through every phase, through challenges that are not always visible, their bond has not only endured, it has adapted. There is a quiet strength in that. You can feel it in the way they don't need to return to how things once were.
There is no holding on to the past, no attempt to recreate older versions of their dynamic. Instead, they continue moving forward, carrying everything they have experienced, allowing it to shape something even stronger than before. And maybe that is why their interactions now feel more grounded, less about reacting, more about understanding, less about showing, and more about simply knowing. There is a kind of emotional awareness that comes with time, an ability to read between the lines, to sense when the other person needs space, support, or simply quiet presence. And with them, it feels like that awareness is always there. Even in silence, you can feel it. In the pauses, in the spaces between conversations, between movements, between everything else happening around them. Those small, unnoticed gaps where nothing obvious seems to be happening, yet everything is being communicated. That is where their connection exists now. Not in the loud, easily captured moments, but in the subtle ones that require true attention. The kind of moments that do not demand to be seen, yet stay with you once you notice them. And over time, those moments begin to build something undeniable. A sense of trust that does not require reassurance. A sense of familiarity that does not fade. A connection that does not depend on constant closeness in order to remain strong. Because even when they are apart, there is no feeling of distance, no sense that anything has weakened. If anything, the space between them seems to strengthen what is already there, as if it gives their bond room to breathe without ever breaking it. And that is not something that can be imitated. That kind of stability only comes from something deeply rooted, something shaped by shared time, shared understanding, and an unspoken agreement that neither of them needs to question. So when people try to explain what makes their connection feel different now, perhaps the answer is simpler than it appears. It's not about what has changed, it's about what has remained. Through growth, through distance, through time itself, something between them has stayed constant. And in a world where so much feels temporary, that kind of consistency becomes rare. It becomes meaningful. And the more you notice it, the more you begin to understand. This is not just a bond that exists in moments, it's a bond that exists beyond them. Something steady, something quiet, something that continues to grow even when no one is watching. And maybe that is why it feels stronger than ever now, because it is no longer something you need to search for. It is simply there. As everything continues to move forward, there's a quiet realization that slowly settles in. Something about their connection feels permanent in a way that is difficult to explain, yet easy to feel. With Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, it is no longer only about shared history or familiar memories. It's about presence, the kind that does not disappear even when circumstances change, even when paths shift in unpredictable ways. Because life does change, priorities shift, people grow into new versions of themselves. And yet, there are certain connections that do not get lost in that process. They adapt, they adjust, but at their core, they remain untouched. That is what this feels like now. Not fragile, not temporary, but something quietly enduring. There's a sense that they have both come to understand the value of what they share, not in a dramatic or spoken way, but in the way they continue to hold space for one another, the way they do not allow time or distance to redefine what already exists between them. And maybe that is why there is no urgency in their interactions, no need to prove closeness, no need to always be standing side by side. Because when something is truly secure, it does not need constant reassurance. It exists whether it is being seen or not. You can feel it and how natural everything still is. There is no awkwardness, no sense of separation, only a quiet continuity, like continuing a conversation that was never truly paused. That kind of ease does not come from effort, it comes from understanding that has been built over time. And that understanding reveals itself in the smallest details, the way they instinctively respect each other's space without creating distance, the way they remain aware of each other without needing direct attention, the way even silence between them feels complete rather than empty. It's a balance that is not easily achieved. Most connections either fade with time or struggle to keep up with change, but this one seems to do something different. It absorbs change, grows with it, and somehow becomes stronger because of it. And that is where the real depth lies, not in what is visible, but in what continues to exist despite everything. There is also something deeply reassuring in the way they do not try to define what they are to each other. There are no labels being forced, no explanations being offered. And maybe that is intentional, because some connections lose their meaning the moment you try to define them with words. Some things are meant to be felt rather than explained. And what they share feels exactly like that. Unspoken yet understood. Quiet yet powerful. Simple on the surface, but layered with years of meaning beneath it. As time continues to pass, it becomes even more clear that this is not something that will simply fade away. It is not something that will be replaced or forgotten. If anything, it is something that will continue to evolve, taking on new forms, new meanings, while always holding on to the same foundation. And perhaps that is what makes it so lasting, because it is not tied to a single moment or a single version of who they once were. It grows alongside them. It changes as they change, but it never loses what it was built on. So when people look at them now and feel like something has shifted, they are not imagining it. It is no longer just familiarity. It is certainty, a steady, grounded certainty that no matter where life takes them, no matter how much changes around them, there will always be something there, something unspoken, something constant, something that does not need to be seen in order to be real. And in the end, maybe that is what makes their connection stronger than ever. Not because it demands attention, but because it quietly proves, again and again, that it does not need it. And perhaps without even realizing it, they have reached a point where their bond no longer needs to be observed to be understood. It simply exists in a way that feels stable, grounded, and completely certain. With Jeon Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, there is no longer a sense of questioning whether it will last or whether it has changed. Those kinds of questions seem to disappear the more you watch them now. What replaces them instead is something quieter, but far more powerful, the understanding that it has endured.
And endurance is not something that comes easily. It is built in the moments that no one sees, in the times when everything is not perfect, when misunderstandings could have happened, when distance could have created a gap too wide to close. And yet, somehow, none of those things seem to have broken what they share. If anything, those unseen moments feel like the very reason their bond stands as it does now, calm, steady, and deeply rooted. There is also a certain emotional honesty in the way they carry this connection, not honesty expressed through words, but through presence, because the kind of comfort they show around each other cannot be imitated. It is not performative, not exaggerated for attention. It is subtle. It is instinctive. It is the kind of comfort that only exists when two people have fully accepted each other, not just the easy parts, but everything in between. And that level of acceptance changes everything. It removes the need to impress, the need to prove, the need for constant reassurance. What remains is something simpler, yet far stronger. A quiet confidence in knowing that what they have does not need to be questioned.